Technical difficulties, technical difficulties, technical difficulties. You would think that technical difficulties would stop me from being on the air somehow, some way. But lo and behold, here I am, live and in living color, here on my show, which I can welcome you to as Saturday afternoon's main event. If somehow, some way, you didn't catch last week's show, which you should go back and watch, because like I said before, it's the dawn of a new era. It's the beginning of something good. And I think it's only fair that you go ahead and address me as the new and improved chosen one, because that is exactly what I am. Chosen. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and kick off today's show the right way by saying welcome to Sane. We have a lot in store for you individuals here on this show, and I think it only starts well because, of course, I'm here, and it's the beginning of a new era. So, fear not, guys, the chosen one's here. Let's go ahead and kick this thing off right. Fortunately, I have to go ahead and call in another individual. He is the limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, all of that BS. But, again, I have to introduce him without no further ado. Give him 2 claps and whatever the hell he calls it, a peep stage. Oh, look at that. More technical difficulties with the peep snake. It seems like he's not even coming in, is he?
I am here. I am here. It's going to take a lot more than technical difficulties and whatever to throw me off, because today is my mother's birthday. So happy birthday, Mother Nature. I will say that right up front. Gonna be fun. I'm gonna dedicate this show to her. So for those that are watching, thank you. I will clue everybody in with what we usually do.
First off, Peeps gets out of here. Now my Wi-Fi wants to go ahead and lag out. Look. Lo and behold, I'm going to say this once and foremost again. It doesn't matter what Peeps Nate has to say. Happy beloved birthday to Mother Nature. At least I can give her some kind of respect, although she gave birth to a vile individual creature like Peeps. But in all reality, Peeps sounded like he was about to say something. And you know what? It is my duty to let you individuals know that we'll do just that. Give you guys laughs, good times, and all the rest of the news possible, although, you know what? Again, this is my show. Why the hell am I going ahead and listening to what the Peeps Nation has to say? Oh, and speaking of the devil, it seems like he wants to go ahead and join back in. Oh, well, how perfect. How perfect. How perfect. Ah, oh, Peeps, you're back. Oh, would you look at that? Perfect. You know what? Again, I don't have no time to waste with you. I'm not going to go ahead and waste no time with the people as well. I think we got to give them a show. So let's go ahead and do that. Guys, and we're going to go ahead and adjust it like this. You hear this sound, it's time for one thing and one thing only. It's time for Three Rope Talk, all of the professional wrestling news that you can possibly get that consists within the span of the squared circle. Now look, we're going to go ahead and start off today's show flawlessly with a Raw and SmackDown review. A lot has happened within the last week. We have some things on Raw going ahead and at least allowing itself to be the same in a sense. We have individuals like Oba and Brock still crossing paths. It seems like down the line we're still going to go ahead and get that match. It's trickling down to a few, although I still don't understand why it is in the blue hell that Obafemi still isn't WWE champion right now. But it seems like we're going to go ahead and let that simmer and go ahead and cast away like Peeps' hairline. But in all further ado, other things happen on SmackDown, which we will get to. But first, I guess we have to ask Mr. Peeps Nate how he felt about Monday Night Raw.
Well, Monday Night Raw did what Monday Night Raw usually does. And that seemingly neuter whatever storylines that they try to build for the sake of doing it. It's Bloodline Central, as we've been talking about ad nauseum for weeks. Doesn't seem like it's going to change much. We seem to have Oba once again, as you brought up as well, going back and forth and kind of figuring out where they're going to be with this. But also, at the top of the show, knowing what we've seen, it's been built around what they were going to do with Solo Sikoa and him getting this match later on the show to see if he's either going to be free of the bloodline or if he's going to have to then carry the bags of Roman Reigns, which is just another wrinkle in the same storyline that they've been doing with this bloodline for ages now. And it seems like I don't know if it's going to change, how it changes, what they change, when they change it, but it looks like it's something that we're both probably going to nitpick. I don't want to put any words in your mouth, but I do know that it's something that as a wrestling fan, if you're watching this product, will really start to irritate you, looking at how this is being built.
Speaking of irritating, Peeps Nate, well, thank you for that synopsis of one Solo Sikoa having to hand over his fate to the bloodline. It seems like even in that sense, we still might not get Solo Sikoa alongside the bloodline. But even though it seems like more family values are being implemented within the sense of the bloodline, which we will be speaking on later. But as we move away from Monday Night Raw, which was another lackluster episode post SummerSlam in which they try to infiltrate you with some wrestling and some storylines being driven, although there hasn't been much of that within that show, we can transpire over to SmackDown, in which I have a lot to get off my chest. First and foremost, SmackDown was hailing from Boston, Massachusetts, the hometown of one Carmelo Hayes, who went up against the United States champion Baron Corbin. Lost in his hometown, flat, in the middle of the ring. You know, it seems like the stench of Vince McMahon is still carrying around the WWE as we still have professional wrestlers going into their hometown and losing in variable fashion. And the fact that it's Carmelo Hayes, who still has yet to go ahead and get a fair U.S. title shot, now he has to lose to Baron Corbin clean. What is it that they're doing with Carmelo Hayes?
That's a good question. Nobody knows. And it seems like he's now become the guy on SmackDown that has the really good high-profile matches but puts everyone else over. And I think that that's going to be a problem going forward because they need to start bringing much more quality in.
It's gone again. You gotta be kidding me. You know what? You say something about putting people over. I might as well just put the Peeps Nates over by going ahead and finishing this topic. Fact of the matter is, Carmelo Hayes is an individual that is highly regarded as one of the best professional wrestlers that was on NXT many years back. Moves up to the main roster, captures the US title, makes something of it while he's there, has highlight matches with one Andrade El Idolo, who is now back to AEW television, and yet the company still goes ahead and turns in the direction of going ahead and putting the title on Trick Williams. Great. We're going to go ahead and have that rivalry down the line. We're going to see best stellar matches from the two of them. No, wrong. They infiltrate Baron Corbin into the company by allowing Baron to go ahead and beat Trick Williams clean at SummerSlam. No matches within the company from his debut, and that was his debut match. Ends up winning, and now he's going on a streak of beating everybody else on SmackDown while still holding that US title. And Carmelo Hayes, no WrestleMania debut, no WrestleMania match, no match on SummerSlam, and is now being treated as a jobber. How does that sound like a lot of other people on the SmackDown roster that I've had to go ahead and speak about for the last how many weeks? Oh, Matt Cardona. Yup, that's another one. Oh, wait. Jordan Gray still back in the catering. Julia. Same instance. And you know what? Speaking of Julia, who's going to go ahead and have a one-on-one match with a debuting Blake Monroe next week, how about we talk about how they're using Japanese wrestlers here on SmackDown? Oh yeah, Japanese wrestlers. Because now I'm hearing that Shinsuke Nakamura is now gunning for the MFTs, who are the new tag team champions. Speak about Samoan power within the WWE. But then the reality, now with that, Shinsuke is now talking about an individual that he's going to be bringing in that is an instrument of destruction, chaos, and, oh, may I add, a ticking time bomb? Sounds very familiar to those wrestling fans who know an individual from New Japan Pro Wrestling and a little bit from the AEW scene as one Takahashi? But let me get this straight. WWE is signing Takahashi to a deal within the WWE, and now he's going to be teaming with Shinsuke Nakamura. How many weeks till we go ahead and see that they make nothing of this? Oh, what's the over-under here? Shout out to go ahead, Mr. 411, right? What's the over-under? Oh, 5 weeks? 10? 8, 15. How about a solid 3? I'm saying they're going nowhere with this, and this is the problem with the WWE. How much you want to bet? If Haku wasn't the individual that was slated behind the MFTs wouldn't be tag team champions right now. Well, let's speak about it. How about this? Maybe if Roman Reigns wasn't Roman Reigns, maybe all of the bloodline wouldn't be slated to be featured on the main roster as they are currently. But they are. Talk about a lackluster win from the MFTs winning the tag team championships on SmackDown this past Friday night. No solid reaction. And now you're supposed to tell me that I'm supposed to care now that they possibly might get the titles taken off them by Shinsuke and Takahashi? This is what we're doing now? Genuinely, this is what we're doing. And no offense to Takahashi, the man has had a run in New Japan, teaming with Naito, going ahead and, transferring over to AEW, even though he was still the World Heavyweight Tag Team Champions in New Japan. Had a solid year at Forbidden Door last year when he went ahead and went into AEW. No offense to him. But what is WWE going to do with an individual like Takahashi? They're not going to make the man a singles talent. They're not going to let the man shine like other individuals that they let shine on the main roster and then just depleted them to catering. Oh, but this is WWE. We're supposed to go ahead and let everything get shoved down our throats and accept it. Guess what? Just like this show and just like the Chosen One, nah. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. And the fans are at one point going to say something about this. And guess what? WWE is going to still try to say that it doesn't matter about what the fans cater to. We're putting on the best product as possible. And then somehow, some way, this is going to end up on Unreal as saying, oh yeah, this is the move that we wanted to do. We wanted to make the fans feel like this. We wanted this. We wanted that. BS. But in the world of Saturday afternoon's main event, there's only 2 words to describe how I'm feeling. And that is, I digress. Speaking of I digress, Peeps Nature's back here. Peeps, I said I digress. Can you write that down? I'm going to take it easy on you today. Just because it's Mama Nature's birthday, I'm going to take it easy on you. But if you can go ahead and fix your Wi-Fi or that dumb, stupid Boost mobile phone that you have, maybe today's show may go a bit stellar. Don't you agree?
You think so? Well, who knows?
So I genuinely do. But you know what? I covered SmackDown for you, like the good host that I am. So I think it's only fair that we can move away from Raw and SmackDown, and we can transverse into one Zilla Fatu, who made his debut this past week on NXT. The worst kept secret in the WWE, Zilla Fatu is now a part of World Wrestling Entertainment. Your thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you this. Hopefully the Wi-Fi will stay together while I say this. Zilla Fatu, as you stated, worst kept secret in WWE. The fact that the WWE now has, as I wrote down some time ago, 9 Samoans within the Anoa'i family tree under contract in WWE right now. We talked about this last week about how Zilla Fatu was done with his independent dates, becoming a free agent, and that would free him up to be in WWE with his family. Now we see that that's the case. They didn't put him on the main roster initially. I guess this is going to be a slow burn. Eventually, they're going to get him to the main roster. But we're talking Zilla Fatu, who's now the newest signee. You still have Tamina Snuka, who's still on the roster somehow. Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, Nia Jax. I only put Naomi in there because she's bloodline by marriage. Jimmy and Jey Uso, Roman Reigns. And the reason why I bring that up is because everybody has now fallen into this, as we've talked about the Jericho vortex. This has turned into the Roman Reigns bloodline vortex, where it seems like everybody that has become part of the bloodline, that have become associated with the bloodline, storyline related, gets sucked into this vortex, and they end up getting pushed away. They end up losing their push. They become subservient to everything storyline related connected to Roman Reigns. We look at the Usos, tag team champs, main evented one night of WrestleMania a couple years back. Jey Uso being world heavyweight champ. What has happened? They've all become subservient. Jacob Fatu, Samoan werewolf, subservient bodyguard to Roman Reigns. What's going to happen next with the next person that comes up through this? Solo Sikoa, as was able to get into, now is part of the bloodline, whatever they plan on doing on Monday to try to kind of acclimate him into this. What happens there? And what's the story going to be? Is he going to try to be nice with the family? Is he going to basically try and bust the family from within and try to make Roman's life a living hell? What do we do there? But the problem is there is a bloodline fatigue that has been going on with this for the last couple of years, and it looks like the malaise has not changed at all. And I don't know what they plan on doing with Zilla. Hopefully it's something different that'll infuse some new blood into this.
You know, this technical stuff. Look, if your Wi-Fi stays good, it stays good. But speaking of new blood, don't you need a blood transfusion at this point, Peep Stage? I feel tired of. You know what? I digress.
Seems like you need to get your ego in check a little bit too sometimes, you know.
Yeah, my ego.
Yes, your ego. Your ego.
Yeah, very funny, Mr. Peep Stage. Very funny.
Yes.
Egos. We're talking about egos here. Meanwhile, you're going ahead and stretching your ego out of the thin hairs that you got, going ahead and pointing out. You know what? Again, it's Mama Nature's birthday. I'm genuinely holding it in. But aside from Zilla, we hope to see that he can go ahead and genuinely exploit himself into prominence within this whole case of his career within the WWE, as per seeing what he's done alongside House of Glory and every other indie spot that he's been on. But now we move to an individual who is prominent within the world wrestling community, and of course, one women's division. Her name is Bayley. And Bayley is seemingly going all in. But as she's going all in, it seems like she's garnering some heat and some malintention behind the locker room at WWE. Over this last week, Bayley went ahead and took to Instagram and posted a couple of posts of her training in ring with one of her best friends, and of course, one well-known individual within the pro wrestling community, current AEW Women's star and soon-to-be Women's Champion per se, Mercedes Moné, known to many as Sasha Banks. And Bayley went ahead and seemingly did something cryptic. She went on to the audio section and put in a song titled All In, saying that she's all in or nothing. This seemingly garnered negative attention from the locker room and some fans begging for her to not go to AEW. But it seemingly seems like that's what the route is, and that's been what the route is since her loss to Lyra Valkyria at one Saturday night's main event in Madison Square Garden. Peeps Nate, where do we go with Bayley and this whole debacle?
I think Bayley is one of two things. I think either she's just trolling, because we all know the internet wrestling community can actually fall for a lot of trolling. We've seen that before. Or maybe there's something coded in this. Now, remember, something was uploaded online some months back of a dream match for Wrestle Dream in AEW between Sasha and Bayley. And it was liked by Bayley. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Mercedes had initially seen this and she liked it and put it on her social media, and Bayley liked it. So a lot of people thought that, that could be something that would happen. So now this adds intrigue to the fact that Bayley right now, we don't know what her contract situation is. Rumors going along that her contract will be expiring within the next couple of months. She has not really been doing a whole lot on the singles arm. She's been putting others over, and we don't know if she may want to leave WWE. We don't know what the contract situation is, and hopefully that'll be cleared up at some point. If she does leave to go to AEW, there's an entire fresh roster of wrestlers to have good matches with, including her best friend, Mercedes Moné, whether it's in a tag team or as enemies, to see what they do there. But that's down the road. I think what has happened here is that in this world of social media and people doing things and showing things out there, there's always that idea that maybe, just maybe, somebody's trying to book something for themselves away from the actual booking in the company that they work for. Is that the case? I guess we'll find out.
Great synopsis there, Peep Stage. Took up a little time, but it's all right. It's all right. No worries. But you know what? I bid you thank you. How about that? But we can move away from Bayley. And speaking of All Elite Wrestling, Dynamite took place this past Wednesday night. Peep Stage, you take the floor. I'll give you the reins to go ahead and speak about this fulfilled Dynamite episode. The floor is yours.
Yes. Okay. Well, first and foremost, as they're trying to continue to build toward All In, we saw the start of the show with Will Ospreay doing his promo, starting and talking about what's going to happen and what he wanted to do with the actual AEW Championship match opportunity that he's getting. And then we also saw, while that interview, that promo was being cut, the Don Callis family coming in. So knowing that that was being the case, they came in trying to jump him, to try to get him beat up. Will Ospreay came in with, of all things, a pipe to try to help Will Ospreay out. So also knowing that there is this storyline that they have between the two, the process that they're trying to go for is right now, what's going to happen going forward? Ospreay wants to be 100% for his match, but now he has to look out for the Don Callis family, as was explained by Don Callis himself, thinking that he has a lot more influence on the two of them than anyone else. That was the story that they were.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, come on. I move away for 1 second. 1 second. And this Neanderthal can't seem to go ahead and get his stuff right. Yo, you know what? Again, you're really pushing my buttons, and I'm really trying my hardest to give you an inch of love here today on Saturday. You know what? Forget all that. Again, I'm going to be the one-man wheelbarrow of the show. I'm going to carry everything on my back like I do always. I heard him talking about Will Ospreay here, and funny enough, here when we talk about Will, and we talk about this whole dynamic with him going ahead and chasing the AEW World title from Kenny Omega, this story has been one that has been infiltrated within the Death Riders, within Ospreay possibly turning heel, within Kenny not knowing if he should trust him or not. Of course, this past week, it turned tides to where Kenny went ahead and found a way to save Ospreay once and foremost one more time, just for him to tell Ospreay that I'm not going to keep doing this again. The tide has shifted to where both men are at a divide. It is indeed being shown. And now we are inching closer to All in Wembley. And now we're supposed to show the dynamic within the sense that Ospreay is genuinely conflicted, but at the same time, he's trying to get whatever needs to be get done just for him to claim that AEW World title. Here's my thought process. Will Ospreay? We ain't gonna see it. We're not supposed to see it coming. That's the whole thing with this. Ospreay is going to turn heel. It's going to happen. I don't see how you guys don't see this coming from a mile away. At All In, Tiger Driver 91 to Kenny Omega to reinvert his diverticulitis just for Ospreay to show an inch of aggressiveness and then to pop off completely. That then, right then and there, ladies and gentlemen, is where the Death Riders come in and salute him to let him get the job done. Ospreay is going to become AEW World Champion. The dynamic to getting there is what's trying to get people to seem like, oh, it's not going to happen. It's going to happen. For any other pro wrestling fan or pro wrestling like-minded individual who is sustainable within the world and is chosen like myself can see it from light years pointed at the direction of beam of Earth. It's going to happen. But speaking of AEW Dynamite, speaking of All In, speaking of AEW, here's something I want to talk about. It'll be a new day soon. And when I say that, you might ask, but Chosen One, why? You know exactly why. Oh, as for what my time is saying, and as for what the date is, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods are free from their WWE contracts. So Kofi and Creed are free agents. And as for what I saw on Dynamite this past week, the Trios champions alongside Bandito and Hangman Adam Page, it seems like they're on talks to tell Swerve Strickland that he should be challenging for these titles as well, and he should probably get a shot. But Swerve doesn't have two other individuals. Oh, but you know who does? Oh, Ricochet. Ricochet and his group. Oh, yeah, that's right. So they might be infiltrated in this match. And you know what? If they are, perfect. 9-man tag, right? That can be infiltrated within the sense that now Swerve Strickland needs two men. Kofi and Creed, perfect fits. Why? Because if Ricochet and his group can maintain the sense of being heels in this match, this can give an opportunity to Swerve Strickland to shy away from that tweener persona that he currently holds within AEW. And that can give way towards Kofi and Creed to still get a standing ovation at AEW All In Wembley. Why? Because I still feel that they are much more better as baby faces, and especially entering a new company, than they would be as heels. And just showing by how Swerve was acting this past week on Dynamite, it gives way for that case and point. So guess what, guys? Indeed, a new day will reign on AEW television. Speaking of AEW and the crap that I was just talking about, seems like crack just showed back up. Peeps Nate, you back?
Apparently. Yeah, I guess I am back. Yeah.
I'm giving you one more chance. Just one more chance. Just one more chance. Do you need to call your cable provider? Did you pay the bill? Seemingly, you might have amnesia from paying your bill. Did you pay the bill?
Look, whatever the heck is going on, it started to drive me nuts. So, yeah. I don't know what's going on.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Anywho, this is the part of the show that I would suggest that you actually stay in for, because it's your job. We are now at the point of speaking on our ratings. So, Peeps Nate, please give us the ratings for today's show.
Okay. Now, since last week's ratings didn't come in because for whatever reason Nielsen had a backlog of whatever they were doing, I'll give you last week's ratings and I'll give you what they have of this week's ratings. First off, starting with AEW and NXT, AEW won last week 694,000 viewers with a 0.14 in the demo, whereas NXT did 649,000 viewers with a 0.07 in the demo for themselves. TNA, their number we were able to get, did 232,000 with a 0.03 in the demo for them as well. Now, this week, we have SmackDown's ratings, and we also have AEW's ratings, which actually came in roughly an hour before the show started. And for AEW, they did 658,000 views for this past Wednesday show with a 0.14 in the demo. Collision, they got 418,000 over the last week. So the last two of the last 3 weeks, they've done over 400,000 viewers looking at Collision. And more importantly, for SmackDown, as we talked about last week, and I brought up how the go-home shows for their premium live events and what they do, SmackDown did the highest they've done in quite some time with 1.47 million viewers with a 0.35 in the demo for SmackDown. So apparently there seems to be growing interest in what's been going on SmackDown, even though SmackDown's television creative has not been all that good. The eyeballs are starting to show up because the week before they did 1.37 million.
1.37 million. Would you look at
yes.
that?
Yes. NXT, whenever NXT gets their ratings together, we'll get that next week.
Huh. Well, as for what we can see from SmackDown, it's the growing effect for CM Punk and Kevin Owens. As for what we've been seeing the last 2 weeks with what their story has been told, of course, the whole Chelsea Green dynamic, Matt Cardona coming in, possibly about to be feuding with Gunther. It seems like things are looking up for SmackDown in a sense. And a lot of eyeballs may be tuned in for next week's episode with Blake Monroe debuting and Takahashi debuting. So maybe, just maybe, just like Peeps' Hair Club promo, it might just be growing. This is good news. Why thank you for the ratings, Mr. Peeps H. But I think it's only fair that we continue with today's show, and that is the second half by introducing our question of the week. This one comes from one Master and Sean 007, and he goes ahead and says this. Greetings, gentlemen. Lately, I've been reading about the bad storylines in the WWE that has gotten worse over time. As everyone plays Follow the Leader with WWE, it creates a trickle-down effect throughout wrestling, which is a bad thing. So why doesn't the WWE just get rid of these Hollywood writers and use retired wrestlers / managers to tell stories? Hollywood types can only write for actors. They don't necessarily understand the business. That would, in my opinion, bring fresher ideas, thoughts, and Master Sean 007. This is something that I have been talking about for years upon this show, this glorious, beautiful show that I get to call mine, known as Saturday Afternoon's Main Event. And you know what? That bald-headed Neanderthal can attest to it, right, Peeps? Haven't I not said this before?
Yes, you have.
Exactly! Peeps knows it, the people know it, and I for damn sure know it as well. Here's the case, okay? WWE wants to run a faceted product, a product where they can call themselves professionals. That is a beautiful thing. That's an amazing thing. It's a glorious thing. For me, I wish I could run a show with professionals instead of Peeps Nate with a stupid Wi-Fi. But you know what? We don't all get that glory because of one thing. Money! I thought I paid Peeps Nate good enough, but it doesn't seem like it is. It's not going to his Wi-Fi. So I have better yet to go ahead and sit here and see what else I can possibly pull out of my socket. But the reality is WWE has money. They want to go ahead and sit there and pay millions of dollars to creative writers that can do what? What exactly? Write for the WWE? When last time I checked, to fill out an application to even work as a creative writer in the WWE, you had to have experience of knowing the history of what exactly pro wrestling is. You had to understand the faceted ways the storylines procured within the WWE. You had to understand the history of certain wrestlers to be a creative writer. And it was hard for individuals to get that job. Yet, they're giving it to Hollywood writers, people that ran TV shows for a living, people that wrote for stupid sitcoms that are on syndicate to this very day. Yet somehow, someway, you're supposed to tell me that these are the people that are supposed to be writing storylines for me to enjoy. BS. BS. And WWE knows that. Yet they just want to come off as professional. And you know the thing? They'll never, ever get rid of it. No, TKO believes in faceted products. They believe in big name people to be a part of this thing called WWE. Yet no one in TKO genuinely knows in the blue hell what professional wrestling is all about. They don't understand the psychology that goes into storytelling when it translates from on-screen detailing to in-ring detailing. They don't understand how to procure storylines from a week-to-week basis that can culminate in a feud that you can sit back and say 10, 15 years from now, oh my gosh, that was a beautiful storyline. What have they come up with that you can sit there and say that this was genuinely great since WrestleMania 40, the Bloodline saga? That's it. Something that they're still rinsing and repeating from now because they think that's the only way to tell wrestling storylines. What does it tell you? It'll never change. It'll never change. And you can only hope that Paul Heyman can at least have some kind of say-so alongside Triple H to build in some of the little things that we might want. But what else is it going to do? Not a goddamn thing. They're keeping the Pritchards. They're keeping the P.S. Michael Hayes to go ahead and sit there and say, hey, let's give Jey Uso the Rumble win. Let's go ahead and put Brock Lesnar in this sense so that way he can come back and beat the holy hell out of John Cena. This is what we're going to be doing for his farewell tour. This is where we're at. This is where we're at. No fresh new names, no individuals in the business that you can possibly put in to sit there and say, oh, you know what? Creative right. Nah, none of that. And I can bet you that there are many people faceted within the roster that if you're not going to book them, they can definitely tell much better creative stories than the sack of shit that you got sitting up in headquarters up in Connecticut. But then again, what do I know? I'm just a 400-pound gorilla in the room. See, Peep Snakes, I'm shouting you out. That's the good graces that you have under me today. But do you have anything to say about this?
Maybe. Yeah, okay. I do have something else to say about it. Basically, what we're seeing right now is literally the same thing that we always talk about with WWE. And it's one of those things that has happened in wrestling where it seems like business owners, people that run wrestling companies that are not of the wrestling business, they think that running the show like a television program and not like a wrestling show. True, you're going to have in-ring work, you're going to have wrestling matches, but most of the time it's what is the reason behind having them wrestle. Get in the ring, you tell them, I hate this person, there's a title involved, I want to beat you up, get them in the ring, and that's it. But then a lot of times they try to be a little over nuanced in adding to what they should do, and then they overbook, or they add a storyline that makes no sense, or they'll put something that's in story related that then they just forget about the next week. It's like grabbing a whole bunch of stuff and throwing it at the wall, hoping it sticks. And that has become a problem when the things that they use that are successful continue to be overused over and over again. And it's the same cliches that you hear, just like in Hollywood, just like you hear about on television. It's the same kind of stuff. You need to have certain things that work. You just change some of the stories up, and then you work within the characters that are there. And I remember Jim Cornette saying this once upon a time, that great characters are those that are themselves with the volume turned up. And then you work from there. And a lot of these Hollywood types and writers that are in the writer's room that are helping out, a lot of them, they just don't think that that makes any sense. And that's part of the problem.
Speaking of part of the problem, I digress. But thank you for that, Mr. Peeps Nation. Thank you to Master Sean 007 for that perfectly great, well-put question. If you want to go ahead and send a question to Saturday Afternoon's Main Event, DM me on our Instagram at Saturday Afternoons_Main Event. Yes, thank you, Mr. Vet. Yo, for once I didn't have to call out. Thank you. at Saturday Afternoons _main event. DM us a question. And if it's that damn good, then in the words of JBL, I guarantee it'll be on the next episode of the show. So with that being said, we only got one piece of news left, sort of a topic, to end the show today. And this is concurrent to WWE. And it is about how they are literally and figuratively neuralizing their product to the point that content that we know is existent becomes completely non-existent. What is up with that? In the words of one Hurricane Helms, we have seen over the last couple of weeks that WWE is having issues with keeping up with certain things that happen within storyline and somehow just want to erase it from the mind of professional wrestling fans. Oh, here's one per se. Oh, wouldn't this be beautiful within the promo package right before the big match that took place at SummerSlam Night 1 between Obafemi and Brock Lesnar inside Hell in a Cell? Oh, didn't we remember the weigh-in where Brock flipped the bird at Oba outside the cage just for Oba to do the same? Oh, we remember it. We watched it live. Right, Peep Stage?
Yes.
Yeah, we watched it live. Perfect, guys. Where is it now? Oh, it's non-existent. Why? Because WWE has censored that out of the actual 2-hour show. 2 weeks back, Kevin Owens calling CM Punk a POS. Where is it now? Oh, yeah, that's right. Censored out of the whole promo. Where, back in the Ruthless Aggression era, this would possibly be known as a highlight turning point within a promo package. Now, it is just gibberish to Netflix, gibberish to USA, gibberish to the WWE, who so-called loves to highlight and so-called loves to have great moments within the business of sports entertainment. Again, I have to call BS. Peeps Nate, the floor is yours. How is it that you feel about WWE neuralizing their content?
It's the censorship that a lot of people wondered why it even still exists. In the fact that if you're crafting stories, if you're crafting something to be put on television, especially when you are in your own minds, end all be all entertainment, to then put clips of Raw, clips of SmackDown, clips of NXT, clips of AAA on social media, to then edit ad nauseum, blood, cursing. I could understand if you bleep curses out, but they're not even bleeping them out. They're cutting whole segments out of certain promos. What sense does that make if you're trying to sell people on the fact that this actually happened? And there is going to be something that a lot of the fans that are watching this, especially those that are watching it on a streaming service like Netflix, or if it's on a premium live event that's shown on ESPN here in the States, but Netflix overseas and worldwide internationally, what does that tell those that have not seen it live? What are you missing? And then you have to go onto the internet and find out certain clips that you heard about but didn't see because they've edited it out of the replay package. There seems to be a sort of this neutering of their own product through the WWE, which I cannot understand why they would want to do that. AEW isn't doing that. TNA isn't doing that with their packages. They're showing what the heck is going on, and they're showing then the clips on social media through YouTube, on their own web pages. WWE, I don't know if they are ashamed of what they've put up. Is this a TKO edict? Is this coming from Netflix themselves? What's happening with USA? Is the broadcast arm upset over what's going on? Or is it a little higher than that, knowing that their competition, AEW, uses rough language, coarser language, violence, and in-ring, and see what happens from there? Is that some sort of issue with that?
Peeps, is your internet good? You kept going in and out.
Yes, I can hear you perfectly fine. So what would you think?
Here's what I'll say to this, okay? just before you end up coming out again, I'll take this from you. There seems to be a switch in how WWE wants to run things. And it seems that they're letting these higher ups and these other companies neuter what it is that the history of WWE/WWF is. Now, let me go ahead and use this per se as an example. WWE, now within the time that it is now moving towards having all the Raw episodes go from the WWE network into Netflix. It has been a year and a half since we have waited for all the Raw episodes to be uploaded to the Netflix library. And currently, fans are still having issues to where you're missing episodes from 2001 all the way to 2021. Nothing has been uploaded. You're missing episodes from literally the Matt Hardy debacle with Edge to Cena's entire WWE title runs to all of the good stuff. You're missing episodes from 1999 where the whole Austin McMahon saga was at full rise helm, to the Ministry of Darkness running rampant over the whole main roster. None of that is being shown. Why is it being shown? Oh yeah, that was the edgier product. That was the way that television was being run back then, where they wanted people to come and watch Monday Night Raw. Oh, but guess what? You can't see it. You can't watch it. I wonder why. Oh yeah, that's right. They have introduced the right to censorship. Netflix wants to remove certain things from their library because it doesn't fit the quota of what they want on their television screens being shown to other.
You mean the same Netflix that shows all of those documentaries about people, serial killers and murderers and all the other stuff? That same Netflix?
Oh yeah, exactly that same Netflix, Mr. Peeps. That exact same Netflix, the one that shows 365 days on rerun for kids to access for the entire sense and all purpose of no parental advisory being shown. Oh, but y'all draw the line at WWE content. The same WWE that is now going ahead and bleeping out certain things just to put things up on their YouTube channels. Why? Because they think it's just going to garner more attention and parents aren't going to have an issue. You know what? Here's the thing with me. I only got in trouble because I was out here going ahead and shooting out DX symbols up in class. But last time I checked, who knew about a parental advisory from watching WWE Monday Night Raw? Oh wait, that never existed. Kids watched because it was entertaining. Now, guess what? Censorship. You act like kids aren't going to know what a middle finger is. Have you not seen what is being shown on television nowadays? Do we not see the culture and climate of social media? But people draw the line at World Wrestling Entertainment. BS. Again, WWE is finding a way to make themselves more family-friendly. Last time I checked, Benoit died in 2007. How more PG can we possibly get? What are we doing? What are we doing? If you want to clean up your act, get rid of TKO. I said it. Get rid of TKO. You want to clean up your act? Get rid of them. Because currently, they're the ones that are putting out Danhausen up on all of your television screens while getting you to buy all of the new Danhausen merch, but yet trying to limit the amount of influence that professional wrestling can have on a community. Why? Because they think of this as the UFC. Oh, but last time I checked, the UFC has tons of cursing. They ran a UFC show at the White House where a UFC fighter called Michelle Obama a man. But you draw the line at World Wrestling Entertainment, which is one of your other subsidiaries. I digress. I'm done. You can't possibly paint a picture any other way as to the direction that WWE is going when it comes down to these certain things. And they will never change. That is the problem. They will never change unless they rip up the rug right from under them and say, you know what? TKO, done business. But no. You got Vince to thank for that. And you got Ari Emanuel and Mark Shapiro to thank. Are we done here? I think we are.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Well, you know what? This is what I'll say to this. That marks the end of that topic. I know somewhere down the line, individuals will start to see exactly what we're saying, and it will happen more often. But as for now, I'm done. I'd rather not even go ahead and flinch even more when it comes down to the way that WWE is running their product and how it is that they're going ahead and moving when it comes down to censorship. And that, my friends, marks the end of today's show. Technical difficulties may have arisen, but we were here. Even though Peeps Nature's internet needs fixing, pay the freaking bill. I hope that you guys had an amazing time sitting down with us for 50 minutes discussing what it is that we all know as professional wrestling. But speaking of that, Peeps Nature, of course, of course, of course. I, I don't even know why I thought to go ahead and at least tell him to begin with the with the ending, but he's gone. So again, you know what? That just reminded me. Announcement! Announcement to all the people here on Saturday afternoon's main event. Knowing that this is a new era, and knowing that I have the freedom to do what it is that I want to do with this show, being that it is my show, I'd like to let all of you know that in 2 weeks' time, here on Saturday afternoon's main event, the time slot will switch from 3 p.m. back to noon. In the words of Damian Sandow, you're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Courtesy of the phenomenal one, same as back at noon in 2 weeks' time. So, I'll see you in 2 weeks, and being that Peeps ain't here, I'll carry the ending like I did last week. This was Saturday afternoon's main event, where the Chosen One came, the Chosen One saw, and the Chosen One conquered. See you next week.